Hi everyone. Hey, this is Dr. Jason Littleton. Welcome to the Dr. Jason Show. This is episode 3 where we talk about concierge medicine and we focus on healthy living. Today, my special guest is a patient of mine and CEO of Red Lobster, Kim Lopdrup. Kim, thank you for being on my show.
My pleasure.
You know, listen, I have an opportunity to talk to a lot of people about healthy living and concierge medicine. But it's really an honor to have someone like yourself on my show. And I really appreciate that, first of all, you trust me as your doctor. A lot of people ask me everywhere I go about what is concierge medicine and how does that differ from conventional medicine. And I was wondering, in my experience, being your doctor, if you could share what your perspective of concierge medicine and what that's like working with me.
Sure. Well, first of all, we've been working together for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
You were recommended to me by someone I work with, one of the other officers at our company, and it's really been a great experience. I've found Dr. J to be great at in a number of areas. He's obviously phenomenal in technical knowledge, as you would expect, but there's several key differentiators from conventional medicine. One is your proactivity is incredible. Anytime I have an issue, you're like there immediately. I can talk to you by phone or text, and you come to my house, you come to my office, immediately. So your proactivity is incredible. I remember one time I woke up on a Saturday morning and I had this sharp pain in my eye. And
I remember that.
And it was a Saturday, and within an hour you had an appointment for me with the head of ophthalmology at one of the top hospital systems in the town, and then you actually showed up with me. Fortunately, it was just a scratch on the cornea and cleared up. But that's an example that we've seen many times of just how incredibly responsive you've been. Secondly, I love how systematic you've been about looking at family history, looking at anything that could become a risk over time, and making sure you're incredibly proactive about zeroing in on what the whatever the risk factors are and heading things, making sure you're checking to make sure things are okay, or if there is an issue, that we head it off at an unbelievably early stage.
Right.
And clearly that's been incredibly helpful. Third, I love how anytime you refer me to a specialist, you call them ahead of time, and it seems like they're all friends of yours. They all clearly like you a lot.
Yeah.
They always give me the red carpet treatment, because I'm your patient. So that's been terrific as well.
Well, first of all, I really appreciate that. I mean, that's wow. That really touches my heart. One of the things that I've kind of always set out to do in concierge medicine is to give people the experience that I would have if I ever needed to see a cardiologist or an ophthalmologist, or anything like that. In my experience, whenever I've had to go to the doctor myself, I would phone a friend, one of my colleagues who I felt was confident and could help me, that specialize in the area of need, and usually I'd get in right away. And I always felt that when we're dealing with just the whole idea of concierge medicine, I wanted my patients to experience the same thing. And I feel like, really, because I've done conventional medicine before, which is insurance-based medicine, where you're usually seeing 25, 30 patients a day, and you're usually log jammed with labs and phone calls to make. That wasn't fun even in my experience, but I just wanted to be able to give people service that they could always feel that I was accessible. They can always feel like if they had questions, they can get it answered immediately. And so that's the hope that I'm trying to extend to you, and really, all my patients in the concierge field of medicine. One of the things that I wanted to ask you is that when concierge medicine, how has it, now I already knew that you were a healthy person when we first met, How can a concierge practice enhance healthy living and the healthy lifestyle, as far as, you know, exercising and eating healthy and really just having good, healthy routines?
Right. Well, I've you know, here's some of the things I've done for a long time that I think make a difference, but are consistent with your move, eat, drink, sleep model.
Right.
You know, one of them is for movement. You know, I try to go for a run in the morning.
Right.
when I can, and when I do, it usually makes me feel way more energetic, think more clearly, have a positive attitude on life. And by the way, most of my good ideas I get while running for some reason.
Wow.
But even when I can't, and even when I do, one of the other things I do is I just move extremely quickly throughout the day.
Yeah.
And some people think it may think it looks funny or something, but I move at a very high rate of speed or walk very rapidly throughout the day. And because that's actually a way of exercising that actually saves you time instead of taking time. And
exactly.
It's surprising that how beneficial that is over the course of a day and over the course of a lifetime.
Right.
I'm always amazed when I go to the airports and I see these people on these, you know, moving sidewalks and things like that. Why, you know,
or the
you have an opportunity
segways.
to be exercising here.
They have an opportunity to take advantage of it. Right. Yeah.
So anyway, so that's what I do on movement. On eating, I've always been for a long time been focused on being a very healthy eater, and you know, being in the restaurant business, obviously I have to go try out competitors from time to time. So what I try to do is build a very healthy routine that I can default to most of the time.
Right.
And it consists of eating nutrient-dense foods with low glycemic indices in moderate
Right.
portions. So like for breakfast, I'll eat Ezekiel 4:9 cereal, which is made of sprouted grains.
Right.
It's got great roughage, great nutritional value. Typically have some Greek yogurt and banana. At lunch, my default choice is a Mediterranean wrap that it's basically a Greek salad in a spinach pita with 100% pure olive oil dressing, you know, loaded with, and not the 10% stuff, the 100% pure extra virgin stuff, olive oil, which is loaded with omega-3s. You know, for dinner, I often eat seafood, as you would expect from somebody who's CEO of Red Lobster. But seafood, you know, according to the Harvard School of Public Health, seafood is likely the most important food one can consume for good health. And actually, I'm happy to say Red Lobster was named healthiest chain restaurant by the former editor of Men's Health a few years ago.
Wow. First of all, that's an amazing accomplishment.
Well, we've done a lot. We don't market ourselves as a health food restaurant, but actually we've done a lot, and it is very, very healthy. Best thing you could possibly eat would be wood-grilled fresh fish topped with 100% pure extra virgin olive oil, which that is what we serve, and a little bit of sea salt. And of course, you know, we serve it with salads and fresh vegetables, and you can really eat an incredibly healthy meal at Red Lobster. And so on, you know, another key thing though is, believe it or not, is snacking. Because what you want to do, as you know and you teach, is to maintain a steady blood sugar throughout the day, rather than having these peaks and valleys.
Right.
So try to eat in moderate portions, but eat something every 3 hours. And so I often eat raw almonds or trail mix as a snack.
And that's what I tell people all the time is like my favorite snack. I usually say almonds in between breakfast and lunch, dinner, and bedtime. And I talk about it in my book. And blueberries. That's actually my favorite power pack snack. So
I love blueberries also and eat those whenever I can. And then in the evening, I'll often have popcorn, but it's not the stuff you get in microwave bags. It's just pure popcorn, popped in we got this special rubber container that is great, but you can pop it with extra virgin olive oil and sea salt only. It's incredibly delicious and nutritious when cooked that way, without all the junk they put in the conventional microwave popcorns.
Yeah.
On drinking, at breakfast, I typically will have orange juice. I know that's high in sugar, but in a moderate portion, it's also very nutritious. I'll typically drink a large iced coffee, black, no sugar, no milk, throughout the morning. Typically switch to unsweetened green tea in the afternoon. In the evening after dinner, I'll typically have either a glass of wine or a beer, but just one. And so that's sort of, and of course I'll work in water whenever I can as well. It's important to drink lots of water throughout the day. And then your fourth pillar is sleep, and I can't lie to my doctor, because that's not one of my strong suits. My schedule.
Well, you're busy. You're busy, because I remember when I asked you this question, I remember you telling me how it depends on the day. It depends on your work.
Exactly.
And that is actually an interesting subject, because so there's a temptation and a tendency sometimes where people want to go to bed and wake up at the same time. But I tell people that when you're really busy and you have things to do and you want to be really productive, you can't stick by kind of a rigid schedule. You have to be flexible.
Sometimes I've got to catch early flights. Sometimes I get home on a flight late. Sometimes, you just have an urgent project at work you got to work on until it's done. And so I do keep somewhat irregular hours, and pretty, I'd say very long hours. But, one thing I have learned is to listen to my body, and also, if I'm flat out during the week, I'll just sleep in on Saturday and catch up. And actually there's been some studies recently that show that actually can help. It's probably better to have completely consistent hours, but actually catching up does help a lot.
Right.
And so I do that when I need to.
No, that's true. And I mean, it's, when you're busy, when you have things to do, it's impossible to keep that, just perfect sleep schedule. So catch up does make a difference. It does help reduce anxiety levels. It does help make someone feel better and think with more clarity. One of the things I wanted to ask you, as it pertains to concierge medicine being busy like that, how can a practice such as mine make a difference in someone who's always on the go? I mean, you're always on the go. You're in different meetings, you're in different states, you're in different parts of the world. I know we've had opportunity to talk when you've been out of town and things like that. And many people don't know that, that accessibility is available in this type of practice.
No, absolutely. So, if I've been out of town, we sometimes communicated by text or something like that, or or phone, and also just, you save me so much time when I am in town, because you typically come to me instead of, actually you've always come to me instead of me having to go to you, whether that be my home or my office.
Right.
So that saves a huge amount of time.
Yeah, and is it possible, just your opinion on this, is it possible for someone who wants to live a healthier life, that this type of format could make a difference?
Sure.
Whether it be because it saves them time, or this type of format allows person to have more time in terms of accessibility, in terms of being able to sit down and talk about the problems. I mean, in my experience as a doctor, I have found that it's more rewarding sitting down and really getting a chance to know my patients. I feel like not only do I feel responsible for your health care or people that I take care of, but I feel like, I really have an opportunity to really play private eye, detective, dig into what is going on, find out what's the root problem, and then work on solutions to help solve them. For me, it's the most rewarding experience. So people who have, one of the things I'm known as is, the energy doctor, and I deal with a lot of people who are tired, who have a lot of fatigue, and that's a complicated thing. Mm-hmm. And so could this type of practice help delve into issues like that where, it's not always clear. It's not as simple as, hey, you have strep throat, or, this is a common cold, this is what it is, this is the treatment.
Well, absolutely. I mean, most things that people get are actually the end result of bad health practices, whether it be, inflammation is a root cause of most types of serious illness, and there are all kinds of health habits, like not getting proper nutrition, not getting enough sleep, not drinking the right thing, or using the wrong things.
Right.
By the way, we didn't talk about that in nutrition, but I mean, it is like I rarely eat French fries or drink soft drinks, and I don't put salad dressing on my food because that's the number one source of fat in the average.
They can weigh you down.
But there's so many things that make a difference, and certainly you get to know your patients much better than any other doctor I've ever been worked with. The thing I appreciate about you the most, though, is actually how strategic you are about identifying what's a risk factor, what's not, and really zeroing in like a dog on a bone on anything that could be a risk factor, and making sure you get to the bottom of it, and if there is something, fix it before it can become a problem. Right. And most stuff people get treated for could have been headed off at a much earlier stage before it became some kind of crisis for people, and I see you doing that.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think that's an excellent point. First of all, I really appreciate having you on my show. I mean, I appreciate your answers. They're so insightful. And I think, I know as a fact that people can learn from your experience and your healthy living routines. And that's what, I love to share with my viewing audience. I love for people to hear successful people such as yourself, people who are always on the go, and yet you stay energized, yet you stay healthy, yet you're ultra productive and ultra healthy at the same time. And so, I love people that, to learn from people like yourself.
Well, you actually kind of have to be, to be productive, you actually have to be healthy to do it in a sustainable way.
Yeah.
People can sprint for a while, but they'll burn themselves out unless they actually are living a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
And actually, most of the really successful senior executives I know are very disciplined on their health. Not everybody does everything perfectly,
right.
but have a pretty disciplined lifestyle, and it really does make a difference, because our health level affects our performance to a huge degree.
Yeah.
And someone once likened a business career to being sort of like a marathon, because you're needing to perform at a high level over not just a couple of hours, but over many decades. And that does require really good health habits, and really great doctors to make sure that any issues are identified and headed off at very early stages.
Well said. No, I love that. I love that. The principles we talked about, the whole preventative care model in concierge medicine, I also talk about in my book, Energize Again, as you see here. And in my book, this is a book where, you can read it and learn not only how to live healthier, but learn how to establish good routines, and then to keep them week after week, month after month. This book is available on my website, jasonmd.com, and it's a manual that I give every one of my patients. And for those of you who don't live in the state of Florida, this is a way you could have me on the go and learn about some of the healthy habits that I share with my patients, such as Kim and others, and some of the rules and principles that I live by, so that I can stay healthy and energetic, especially when I'm really busy. Kim, I have to thank you so much for coming on my show and spending time with me today. And it's an honor to be your physician. And I think I gave you you have a copy of my book as well. So go to my website, jasonmd.com, get your copy today, and continue to follow me on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already. Also, follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I can't wait to talk to you again. Thank you. Talk to you later.